Hey YouTube land, Tychonders there doing another action figure review. Now this is a review for a figure that just literally turned up today, at the time of this recording anyway. And it is the Wave 2 Masters of the Universe Origins Many Faces. So before I get onto the figure, I'll just bring in the packaging. So you can see it says includes comic, it's a multilingual box, which I believe is the European version of the boxes. I don't think the American ones or the US releases has the multilingual on them. If I had Skeletor's box around, I could double check it, because the Skeletor I picked up was the American or the US release. But there he is. It's the kind of standard classic vintage 80s Masters of the Universe packaging with his name and the kind of explosion going on behind him. And then if I flip around the back of the box, you have an image of characters. So you have King Randor and is it Queen Melina? Is it Queen Marla? I can't remember her name, but the King and Queen of Eternia. And you have Orko, you have Tila, and then you have what looks like Skeletor's arm with the sword, the power sword. And you have Many Faces doing what looks like some sort of song, and then he suddenly switches into Monster Face and kind of basically goes to defend the court. So it shows other shows the action feature for this guy, and it shows other figures on the back of the box. So the other figures in this wave is Many Faces, Orko, Trapjaw, and Scarecrow. He-Man and Skeletor are part of wave 1. And then you got all the legalese stuff, and that's pretty much it for the box. So onto the figure itself. It is done in the classic style. Sorry about the moving the camera there a second. It's done in the classic style Masters of the Universe 5.5 inch scale figures. Now normally their legs would have been bent in 5.5 inch scale, so I'll just do that for this figure for bringing in the tape measure. So you can see he's a little taller than 5.5 because of the top of the dome on his head. From what I can tell, this guy reuses parts of the New Day, I think, WWE Masters of the WWE Universe figure. The New Day guy has the same gimmick with the alternate faces. Unfortunately, I don't have that figure just to do a comparison with. And you can see the feature is pretty easy. You just twist the little pink dial on the top of his head and it rotates the head. Now, I think you're supposed to be able to take off the head piece if you just pop out this. I haven't been able to do it, but the head is turnable, which is quite cool. And you can still turn the head when the head is turned. So it's a little bit more movement than the original figure, I believe. I think once on the original figure, once this was in place, it wouldn't turn side to side. So you have that extra articulation point. Now, as I said, I don't have I've never had the original figure, so I'm not sure how he stacks up. But he has extra articulation points that the original figure does not have, or did not have. So he has ball joints on the shoulders instead of swivels. So his arm can go all the way around. The arms are done in that design, so you can pop them off and mix and match with other figures. You can even mix and match with the Masters of the WWE Universe figures. His arms, I believe these are supposed to be skin tone on the, or not skin tone, but they're supposed to be his skin on the figure, and same with the body. It is interesting to note that he has quite a lot of paint applications compared to some of the other figures I've seen. I think he has the most paint applications in terms of people like or just bring in Prince Adam. I think Prince Adam, most of this was molded plastic color, whereas this has more paint apps. So just here on the waist piece, it's interesting that I'm not sure if it's the way they glazed it or not glazed it, but varnished it. but it is kind of two-tone. I'm not sure if it's picking that up on the camera, but you can see here it's kind of like a dull blue, then you got glossy blue on just the kind of ribbing area, and then you got the pink paint then on the front. Same with the knee pads, sorry, the legs. So the legs, from what I can see, is cast in this yellow, and then there's paint apps on here with the pink paint. Same with the body. Body is cast in the skin tony yellow color, and then you got all this paint app for that. Even the dome on the head is a slightly different color to the paint applications on the sides, and it even has like even the faces have a lot of different paint apps. Now, the only thing I can say about the faces, they look really cool. I mean, they look exactly how I remember the original figure. The one thing that's kind of annoying, now I'm not sure if it is the same way on the original figure, but the monster face looks a little bit, doesn't look as sharp as it does on the back of the box image. The teeth look a little bit undefined. It could be just my one, but maybe if you give a wash over it, maybe a black wash over the face, the monster face, it'll pick out that detail. It just looks a little either overpainted or washed out a bit. But again, it could be just mine. He does come with one accessory. Well, technically two if you count the comic book, but he comes with one accessory, which is his blaster, which I believe is basically a straight up remold of the original one, or just a redo of the original one that he came with. He has armored hands. He's one of the first figures that I've gotten from this wave that has armored hands and armored parts. Most of the other figures so far that I have gotten, so I've only gotten Adam and Skeletor. So as you can see, Adam Skeletor kind of uses that standard muscle buck kind of type design, whereas this guy has a lot of unique design options, considering the way his overall look is. You have like sculpting detail on all of his body and shoulders, and even on his boots. He does still have that gimmick where you can pop, as I said, pop figures apart. So if you want to give Skeletor armored feet for some reason with yellow legs, you can do that. As far as I know, the only figures that can't really mix and match with their male counterparts is the female figures. If you have Teela and Evelyn, you can mix their parts together, and I'm assuming when the She-Ra figure hits, you'll be able to mix She-Ra's parts with Evelyn and any of the female figures, because I know there is female Masters of the WWE Universe figures on the way as well, and it seems that the female figures will be kind of, you know, swappable, and all the male figures could be swappable. You might get away with some parts on some of the other figures, but I think they look a bit off from what I've seen on other reviews. And then the other thing that he comes with is this comic. So I'm not sure if it's just my one, but I was looking at the one that came with Skeletor. Now, as far as I know, all the figures come with the same comic. So everyone in Wave 1 all came with this Beast Barrage comic. I'm assuming everyone in Wave 2 all come with the this comic, which doesn't seem to have a name on it. And the other thing that's interesting is, well, the Adam figure didn't come with one because he was part of the deluxe kind of set. He came with the Sky Sled, which I will bring in a minute. But the one thing that's interesting about this one is it's a small story about basically Orko, Skeletor, Trapjaw, pretty much most of the figures that are part of the new wave. So you have Scareglow, Trapjaw, Orko, and Many Faces. But what's interesting about it is, if I just open up the ones for the Skeletor, Skeletor actually has speech bubbles in it, and even has a name on the cover of the comic. The one for Many Faces here doesn't have anything or even speech bubbles. So I'm not sure if that's intentional. I could be wrong. It could be just my comic. They might have printed it, but I doubt it. I'm sure it's supposed to be sort of a silent kind of, or kind of like the silent interlude, is it, from G.I. Joe? Kind of that kind of style. But there you go. So as I said, I do have the Sky Sled. This is the modern version Sky Sled. And you can get many faces to fit on that quite nicely. If I just take his pistol out of his hand, he should be able to grip the... Oh yeah, he does have peg holes on the bottom of his feet, before I forget, because there is pegs on this that his feet should be able to fit into. I know doing this on camera is a bit awkward. Now again, just like Skeletor, she has only one gripping hand, which is his right hand. His left is actually in a more open pose, and he can sit on the vehicle quite nicely. And for articulation, as I didn't finish the articulation, I got sidetracked. He does have a, as I said, ball joint on the shoulders, swivel in the wrists, or sorry, swivel in the elbow, and a elbow joint. He has swivel in the wrists with an in and out hinge, and that is the same on both hands. He has swivel at the waist because of that area that you can pop apart. He has leg splits for that much. He can kick forward that much. He can't really kick back too much because of the design of the underwear, is probably the best way to describe it. He does have single jointed knee with a swivel, and then he also has a boot cut just above the, I wouldn't call it a boot cut. If it was a perfect boot cut, it probably might have been just above here, but it's midway on the boot, so it's a little bit awkward, or a little bit weird. You can see that the front of the boot still kind of, actually I'm not sure if you can see that, but the front of the boot kind of sticks out a bit when you rotate it, so it's a kind of bit weird. He does have the rocker joint on the legs, but they are quite hindered because of the way the boots are sculpted. So if I just bring in Skeletor here, you can see he has those rocker joints with a forward and back hinge. Many faces does have the same thing. You can just about make it out, but because of how his feet are designed, his boots are very big and very cumbersome. So they do hinder that articulation point quite a bit. But overall, he looks really cool. If I just bring in a few other figures just to compare him with, you can see how he stacks with some of the masters of the WWE figures. Just move Skeletor in, bring him into center. So here he is with John Cena. Now the masters of the WWE figures tend to have more realistic looking skin tones compared to the masters of the universe. But like even many faces there has like bright yellow skin compared to people like Adam and Tila and Man-at-Arms, so there, you could get away with that. And there goes everyone, so I knock everyone over. But there he is with the Rey Mysterio, aka Stratos version of Rey Mysterio. And then just for another sort of comparison, as I have it next to me, just move everyone out of the way. I can put him on one of the vintage Masters of the Universe vehicles, which is, I think this is the Laser Bolt. So you can get him, get his arms in a sort of more crouching position. You can get him to ride the Laser Bolt quite nicely. So if you have some of the vintage Masters of the Universe vehicles, these guys tend to stack up quite nicely with them. There are new vehicles on the way, as I showed off the Sky Sled, and there is a Land Shark on the way, and there is also possibly plans for other things. I think, I could be wrong, I'm almost certain there was a Roton was mentioned as well somewhere. I would love to see a modern version of Roton. That would be really cool. I kind of hope they might do a nod to the old Monogram model kit version of it, where it had the kind of weird cage. It had like a roll cage on it for basically protecting the drivers, whereas the original toy didn't have it. and I'd love to see an attack track back again. So there you go, guys. Quick video review for Many Faces from the new Masters of the Universe Origins line. Well, new at the time of this recording for 2020. They are available on amazon.co.uk at the moment. They are available, I think, on amazon.com too. I could be wrong, but I know they are Walmart exclusive as well in the States. So I think they're Walmart exclusive for a small while, and then they become mass retail, at later stage. So I'm not too sure which way it's working out for them at the moment, but at the time of this recording, I know Amazon UK had these in stock. So there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed this quick video review, and as I say in my reviews, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Cheers, guys.